if you're out of state, the best way to get in state is to feel good being out of state. Key quote, as soon as you feel good being out of state, you're in state. No joke. What's keeping you out of state? It's you feeling bad about being out of state, and then feeling bad about feeling bad, and feeling bad about feeling bad about feeling bad, and it's just this endless cycle. Okay, I call this finding the equal. Well, let's just say you have this idea of state, right? It could be a moment where you might be high energy, you might be in a nice flow, you might be feeling really loose, you got a good smile on your face, and you're like, that is state, right? And when you're up here, great, you feel amazing. But then, you might go out at times, and you feel down here. You have a little bit less energy. You might not be as happy and smiley, and that's just where you're at. And here's the problem. You're down here, you're not up here. This does not equal this. And that is what keeps you out of state. And here's the key thing. State isn't even being up here. State is when reality matches what you want it to be. So as soon as you feel good, say being down here, this equals reality, right? Where you're at, what you want, same, now you're in state. Find the equal. And then guess what? Throughout your day, you're going to be moving up and down in terms of energy, so on and so forth. And wherever you're at, find the equal. That's where you want to be. As soon as you feel good being out of state, you're in state. You just let go of all that resistance, all that self-attack, all that feeling bad about feeling bad. Boom. Right? You can also play that game with yourself where imagine that from the moment you're born, all the videos you watched on state, they were all teaching you how to be out of state. How would your experience change? Right? Imagine you saw me making tons of videos like how to be out of state, 3 steps to be out of state. You don't want to be in state. Out of state's where it's at. What would happen if you're out and you're out of state? You'd be like, yes, you'd be in state. Get it? So whenever you're out of state, celebrate. Yes, I'm out of state. Then you're always going to be in state, wherever you're at. All right? Now, easier said than done, but it's really letting go of that resistance. Right? Even in an event like this, there are times during this event where you're going to see me ride energy. And the energy will go up. I might be louder, might be more intense, and then there are other times where it's going to be a little bit more chill. But I'm always going to feel good because there is no better. For me, in my mind, it's not like better if it's more intense or better if it isn't. When's the best moment? What's the goal? Wherever I'm at. And you just ride that. Embrace, exaggerate, laugh. Say you're out of state, embrace it. That's step 1. Right? Yes, I'm out of state. You can then even exaggerate it to the point where you laugh at it. And by doing so, you take all the power that it has over you away. So what would that look like? Say you're out of state. You're like, oh, yes, I'm out of state. You can go say hi to someone and be like, hey, I'm so out of state right now. This is awesome, isn't it? And just to the point where you start laughing at it, now you're in state. This embrace, exaggerate, laugh, by the way, you can apply it to anything. Get creative. A lot of social skills is simply being creative. Whatever is happening, embrace, exaggerate, laugh. And by doing so, going even deeper, you start pushing 3 key inner buttons that we all have. Fun, carefree, passion. Learn to link everything that you're saying, that other people are saying, in the environment, things that are happening, to fun, carefree, passion. If you do that, you're unstoppable. I know this sounds obnoxious to say, but I never have a bad time out. Ever. Now, does that mean that, say, every interaction's perfect and amazing? No, and that's not meant to be that way. You're not meant to get along with everyone. That's not natural. However, my experience while out is always amazing. Why? Creativity and state control. And the last thing I'll say on this too is embrace, exaggerate, laugh is a good external tool, but the key thing is learn to dive deep inside and ask yourself, what is putting me out of state? Right? Any sticking point that has to do with, you could say, emotional skills, that's inner work. And you got to differentiate the two. Okay? Social skills is an overall umbrella. If you take this, right, like social skills, under it, you have 80%, 20%. Here it's emotional skills, analytical skills. Emotional skills, 80%, that's done through inner work, that's done through letting go. What are emotional skills? State management. Being stifled or not. Being grounded or not. Being needy, being desperate. Needing approval. Right? Fear of being judged. Fear of putting yourself out there. Being reactive or not. All that, inner work. The big problem is people try to solve this with outer work. All the skills or techniques you're using to try to affect this, you'd be much better just letting go. Things like building momentum, I don't do this. I don't do building momentum. I don't do, I ran out of things to say. I just don't run out of things to say. I don't get stifled. I don't place people on a pedestal. Again, I'm saying 95% of the time. Okay, all this. I'm not perfect, but let's just say 95%, my foundation is that just doesn't happen. Now, what do people do here? That's using technical for emotional skills. I'm building momentum. I need to get in state. I need to get out of my head. I need to practice what I'm saying. I need to do all these verbal exercises so I don't run out of things to say. All that. It's good for a newbie, but it won't get you as far as you want. Same with taking a lot of action to progressively desensitize yourself. I don't do that. The key is you should just already be in state. There shouldn't be anything blocking you. There should be no barrier. If there is, though, that's something to let go of. Now, guess what? Let go of that, you're crushing it. Right? Even if you think of charisma and socializing and putting yourself out there, everyone has that glimpse, that environment where they are doing it. You've already done it. No? The example I use, and I'll just quickly touch on this, is you could take even the shyest person. All right, you might have heard me say this in some videos. Someone who's, say, super shy, see them out publicly, can't even hold eye contact with anyone, even with their friends, don't have many friends, super shy, yet when they go home and they put on their PlayStation and put on their headset, they are the most charismatic, loudmouth person ever. Right? All of you here have environments in your life where you are that. Maybe with your closest friends, maybe with your family, maybe with one person in your family, one friend, where you can just flow and flow and flow and you're fun and you don't run out of things to say. Guess what? What does that mean? You already have that. Why are you then trying to look for techniques to do that if you can already do it naturally? Right? So if you already have that, the question is, why am I not always like that? Why don't I always have access to that? Why is it that only in some environments I can, but not others? Why is it only around some people and not others? Notice how if you talk to someone you believe you're outside their league, you don't run out of things to say. Right? So why are you looking for techniques? You already don't do it with people you believe you're outside of their league or in the same league. So then the problem is, why is it that around some people I place them on a pedestal and then I get stifled? So it's not about now being stifled and trying to replicate that. It's just don't get stifled. Why am I stifled? What about this person or this situation is stifling me? Letting go. Now, of course, you can then polish your personality, polish your delivery, learn more about pattern recognition, reading people, connecting to people. Yes, but that's just the 20%. If you just let go and say you could access that fun you in an environment, talking to someone you feel very comfortable with, if you could just be that all the time, your results socially would shoot up. And that's why I keep preaching letting go. Right? And that's why Owen keeps preaching letting go. For us, again, I've been, since 2006, Owen before that. Together we have a combined 30 years or so of teaching. And this is what we found to be the most effective. Right? People start at first with lines, then going deeper it's principles, going deeper it's letting go at a core. Right? And then it's really fun too. It's not this battle or this thing where you're trying to overcome all this stuff. You just go out and it's just me. Okay, so that's the emotional skills. Everyone here, apply the analytical because you need them too. But at some point, if you haven't already, you will have to do the letting go journey. I've not seen someone really crush it, consistently crush it, and more importantly, long-term crush it without doing that type of work, including myself. Right? I got really good not letting go, all the way up to 2015. But I wasn't actually thriving. I was just very good at fighting against self-sabotage. I got really good at fighting against being stifled. I'd still get stifled, but I'd fight against it really well. I'd get really good at fighting against social anxiety. I'd still have it, but I was just really good at battling through it. But that's not the result I really wanted too. I was like, I don't want to still have social anxiety. What about not having it? I don't want to still get stifled and fight against it, or still have all these limitations and fears and success barriers and all this heaviness with it. So eventually, you'll reach that point. And oftentimes, it's someone who's newer might be open to it, but oftentimes it takes someone to take a lot of action and hit an intermediate level, and they just kind of stay stuck on that intermediate. If that's you and you've been intermediate for quite some time, you got to shift to letting go. And it's not the thing you're going to want to do because you're really invested in your ways. It's like, no, it's just a little bit out of reach. I just got to keep doing that. You got to shift paradigms there. So intermediate to advanced is letting go. If a newbie's open to it, great. But that's usually what I've seen. Like the people that come and do, say, all the trauma release are people who are already quite intermediate and good socially. But they realize this is not really what I want. I don't want to be this person who just, for example, goes out and has to rely on momentum. You know how insane that sounds? That's like no different when I hear that is someone who goes out and drinks. Oh, I need to drink first before being socially. I need to ease up. Oh, I need to talk to a lot of people and build momentum first. It's like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Why are you not like that by default? Right? So it's better than nothing for a newbie, but I find people who still rely on that as their go-to very pathetic. And that's not the type of result I personally wanted getting into this. I didn't want to be this fucking freak building momentum to be social. Right? People even do that before calling someone. Oh, I need to call for you, grease the mouthpiece first. Ugh, terrible. You should just be able to tap into it. All right? You might have also seen a video I put out where I talk about real social skills, right? Being a social master or a social scammer. A lot of people, they're just trying to scam. What's a social scammer? When you put on a front, when you're not being you, right? Even what we talked about before, being out of state, trying to be in state, that's scamming. Well, I want to be somewhere I'm not. I want to show them something I'm not. Oh, I'm not confident. How do I be confident? How do I make them see me for better than I am? That's scamming. Why are you already not there? Why are you just not already the shit that there's nothing to hide? Right? Oh, I'm in my head. How do I scam my way out of it? So, little side notes, but emotional skills, intermediate, that's where it's at. There's what you say. That's the surface layer. That's one everyone obsesses over. There's how you say it. 3, there's your intention, the intention you have behind it. And 4, there's your self-esteem. And forgive my terrible handwriting. What you say, how you say it, your intention, your level of self-esteem. We think this is the most important, and it goes to least important, but it's actually the opposite. This is the most important. People will sense that in the vibe. It's like, where does this person view themselves, right? Where's their level of self-esteem? Are they comfortable with themselves? Do they think, hey, I'm here, all is good, nothing to prove? People pick up on that. And you always gravitate towards someone who has high, healthy self-esteem. Then there's your intention. And this is where the whole frame game is at play, right? There's different frames at all times. There's macro frames and micro frames. A macro frame could be, for example, who's at the cause, who's at the effect. Who's chasing, who's leading, right? Who's the buyer, who's the seller. Could also be who's offering value, who isn't, right? All those things, intention. You could, then there's, and I'll give some examples. How you say it, that'd be the sub-communication, right? So your tonality, facial expression, so on and so forth. And then there's what you say. What you say, least important. This is also a reason why people run out of things to say. They value it too much, right? The same as like, there has to be a logical link. No, it doesn't really matter what you say. I much rather focus on how I say it than what I say. The words are simply the vehicle for someone to experience you. That's it. How you say it's more important. How you say it is expanding the range where, for example, I would suggest all of you in front of the mirror at home, see how wide your range is, right? Give yourself an exercise. Be like, you know what? What does me being angry look like? For a lot of people, it's just like, right? So you can only do a facial, what's your facial expression of being mad? Right? Versus, Like, there's a big range. Get it? And notice I can just summon that.
It was good. It was
Right? No, it's crazy. Like, a lot of social skills, like, you really want to amplify it in the facial expressions. And this is also, too, how we talked about how the more, the formula is like, if you can accomplish something doing less, it's actually a lot more potent and powerful. Right? So say, is a joke, I'm talking to someone and I'm like, I want to just playfully, like, say they say something and I want to playfully be like, ooh, that sucks, like that, right? Like someone's like, hey, you know, I did this. I'm like, ooh, really? Right? So I could do that, ooh, really? And I get the reaction like, haha, yeah, really, right, as a joke. Or I could just be like, just that, right? Or even if I meet someone, I'm like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And it's like, right, I just do a little look then. It's like, wait, what? Like that, right? So little things like that, accomplish a lot, but you need the range, right? So whenever I'm talking, all these layers are happening at the same time. There's also another reason you really want to let go, so you have the mental bandwidth to be aware of them, okay? And then even in terms of social calibration, there's things you're going to say or do that put pressure on someone and things that don't. And you can mix and match in the layers. Perhaps there's pressure in the words, but not in the subcommunications, so it balances it out. I know there's levels to this, right? So how you say it, but practice the range, okay? The intention is also something to practice. That's where it gets a little out there and a little bit more like Jedi mind trick. But say right now, like everyone here stare at me, right? Say look at me in the eyes. And here's the exercise. I want you to communicate to me without moving your face. You're not allowed to make a face. You can't use any facial expressions. You can't even squint your eyes. You can't talk. But I want you to communicate to me that you love me. So you're going to say, I love you, like, but you can't talk. Do it. You tap into this weird kind of pre-verbal layer, right? Now communicate to me, I hate you. Like, say, imagine like you're really mad, but you can't make a facial expression. That there, we actually pick up on it. That's the intention layer. So for example, you hear offering value, taking value. And we think, say, asking a question, is that offering or taking? Taking. Not necessarily. You can ask a question while offering value, because that's the intention. Okay, so here's the difference. Say it's taking value. It's like, hey, do you like what I'm saying? I can even say, breaking a rapport, hey, do you like what I'm saying? I'm taking. You feel it in the intention. That's where also neediness plays in. Versus, hey, do you like what I'm saying? Giving. Even in a question. Do you notice the subtleties here? That's key. Right? This is also why even before saying hi, like, say I went to someone and I would like, say, put my hand out like that. If they're going to walk up and say, grab the hand or not, that's in the intention. It's like, you will reach for the hand. It's like Jedi mind trick type stuff. You will feel it. But what's going to go through someone's mind to see like, okay, am I going to? Notice how there's no words. I'm just like, they're going to get a feel for, okay, what do I get off sub-communications a bit? But say there's not much. I'm just like, they're going to feel the intention and the level of self-esteem. Okay? And those there, self-esteem, impossible to fake. Intentions, almost impossible to fake. We call those honest signals. That's why they're so valuable. That's how you tell if the person's, say, good, bad, trustworthy or not, where they stand, if you should reach or not. It's also why you sense, oh, something's a little bit off around this person. We feel that. You'll be amazed at just how we unconsciously pick up on all these little things. Because guess what? We used to all socialize before words existed. All right, as humans. Social skills, a lot of it's pre-verbal.